What's going on, y'all? Nick here, and I'm with my brother.
This is James Eugene, and this is the Eugene Brothers. How's everything, Nick?
Everything's going good, man. We do got some pressing issues today. As you guys could probably see from the thumbnail and the title, this is called Michigan Church Shooting, at least one dead, 9 hurt in attack. So a tragic shooting unfolded inside a Michigan church, leaving at least one person unalive and 9 others injured. So the authorities who were investigating the scene, apparently, from what we heard, they did manage to catch the suspect. But let's actually see what's taking place. So let's just get right into it. Yeah.
So much for joining me. I'm Danny Freeman, sitting in for Frederica Whitfield, and we're beginning this hour with breaking news. A mass shooting at a Mormon church in Michigan has left one person dead and 9 others injured, including children. Police say the shooter rammed his truck through the front doors. At the same time, a large fire started at the church. Now, officials just gave a press conference a short time ago. Let's take a listen.
Here to give you some preliminary details on an incident that happened earlier today at 10:25 a.m. within Grambling Township. First off, I'd like to say our thoughts and prayers go out to the victims of this incident, which is completely unnecessary and avoidable. The incident that we're going to talk about here today, as I said, was happening at 10:25 a.m. at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is located.
Do you want your videos to look like this? Well, in just 14 days, we've taught all these people how to do it. Our program
at 4285 McCandless Road. During this incident, what we know right now is that a 40-year-old suspect from Burton, he's a male, he drove his vehicle through the front doors of the church. He then exited his vehicle, firing several rounds at individuals within the church. 10 gunshot victims have been transported to local hospitals at this time, including one who has been deceased. Officers who were trained immediately responded to the area. One was a DNR officer, and then one was a Grambling Township officer, where they met the suspect and they engaged in gunfire with that particular individual, neutralizing that suspect, and that suspect is no longer with us. As I said, it is a 40-year-old male from Burton. During all this incident as well, there was a fire that occurred, and we believe that was deliberately set by the suspect. We do believe that we will find additional victims once we have that scene secure. That fire was just extinguished by the Grambling Township Fire Department within the past hour. So where we go from here is we have investigators. We're going to do search warrants on the suspect's residence. We're going to find out if there was a motive. We're going to go through cell phone records, things like that. We have the FBI, they're devoting 100 agents to this area, because as you can imagine, there's a lot of witnesses that were within the church, and that is a lot of witness information, statements that we have to obtain. So I'd like to thank all the agencies who responded, the City of Grambling, Genesee County, Oakland County Sheriff's Office, Flint Township Police Department, the DNR, the State Police, and the ATF. I will provide additional information for you at 5 p.m., but I am willing to take any questions that you have that I could possibly answer right now.
Chief, can you talk about the
So before we go any further, James, what's like the immediate thoughts that come to your mind regarding this?
Churches are easy targets. Yeah, that's the only thing I could think of. Like, the church they need to change their formula. They need to change how you can't have the house of the Lord, so to speak, and then it becomes the most dangerous place possible. And, you know, every time a church shooting happens, it's like ammunition for non-believers and atheists to say, yo, where's God at? Where's the Lord? He ain't protecting you from this. So that's what I think. I think, yeah, man, this type of stuff can devastate people's faiths. It can devastate people's foundation at its core, right?
Yeah. No, I think that's well said. First, I want to say, you know, I send my condolences to the victims and their families. I think this is extremely sad, and you kind of touched on the 2 points that I also was thinking about. Like, why is it that whenever we hear mass shootings, a lot of times it takes place in like a school, takes place in a church, you know, some type of grocery store, things of that sort, like these places where people massively congregate at. And like you said, they soft targets. You know, criminals always use that. And I think especially in a church, because the way it's preached, there's a form of gospel that's preached where, you know, you're supposed to be somehow docile, meek. And I do believe those things are true, but like I think it's kind of taken out of context. And it's taken in a context where it's almost as if just because you're somehow a believer that you shouldn't, you know, defend yourself or things of that sort. So people constantly attack these churches. And it's just sad because, you know, in this particular situation, I don't know if the people were armed or not. However, what I do say is crazy. Like, think about it. They said that while the person just rammed their car into the church, and while he was shooting it, simultaneously, you could see here, you know, the church was lit on fire. So it was like this person perhaps had, I don't know how they had the means to set the fire off. Were there other people involved with it? These are the things that I guess we're probably going to find out later on as we go throughout the video. But it's just like, this is definitely a coordinated event, right? Because if he's in the car, and the church is lighting up on fire at the same time, like that shows a lot of prep work. But where were the security for that? Like, they just allowed any old person to come in. Like, these things are kind of crazy. So before I go further, I do want to say, like, what, you know, maybe you guys in the chat, and, you know, bless y'all all who's in the chat, because I see House of Lamar in there. I see Crazy Gardeners, you know, Johnny X Torpedo. I see Sister Lala, you know, bless y'all all. But like, what's your thoughts when it comes to the security of churches? Because I see like there's a divide. There's some people that's against weaponry. There's some people who is pro, you know, Second Amendment, and they should have the right to bear arms. Like, where do y'all stand? Because I think if we want to put it in the context of the church, I don't think there's anything wrong with you having the right to bear arms. I mean, you know, Jesus, you know, said, if you don't have a sword, go sell your cloak and go buy one. And now that verse, although it sounds very clear to me, people have issue with it. Oh, that's not what it means in context. But I would like to know what's your thoughts in the chat. But let's see some of the questions he's about to take.
The progress of events. Did the suspect set the fire, then get back inside of his vehicle and then ram the front door, or did it all happen at the same time?
So from what I understand, and again, this is just a preliminary investigation right now, from what I have been briefed on, is that he rammed the vehicle through the front door, exited, then started firing shots.
Interesting. So that person that asked the question had the same question I had. Is just like, how did the fire happen simultaneously?
We are still trying to determine exactly when and where that fire ended up coming from and how it got started. So we believe it was deliberately set, though, by the suspect.
Were they in an active service when this happened?
Yes, the service was active. There was hundreds of people within the church.
Are you sure it's only one suspect at this point, or is it possible other people helped setting the fire? What have you?
Yes, it is one suspect that we know of at this point. We do not believe that there's a threat to the public. We believe that we have the guy who did this. Sir.
Could you comment at all on the severity of the injuries at this time?
We have a couple in critical condition. Like I said, one is deceased. The rest of them are in stable condition.
So a couple, maybe 3 or 2, I'm sorry.
One deceased. The suspect is deceased as well. And then multiple victims are in critical condition. We do believe that we will find some additional victims once we find the area where the fire was.
Any word on the weapon? Yeah.
An assault rifle.
So, any, as far as ammunition, did he have a lot of ammunition?
That I don't know of yet, and I could get you later.
I don't.
Hey.
Was the suspect known to authorities, and do you have any connection to anyone who was in that church?
Right now, we don't have any of that information, but I'm confident that our investigators, along with the FBI, we're going to end up uncovering all that information.
So I'm gonna stop right here. I'm gonna show you some other videos because this is kind of like a preliminary video, right? Like this is when the news just first hit. And at this point, this is hours ago. So you could kind of tell like the officer that's responding to the questions, he's saying like, I don't really know much. So I'm going to show you another video, but I do just want to read out Little Lick Loud, bless you for coming in. He said, if you read the verse further, his disciples tell him, we have 2 swords. He then says that is enough. It is a confusing passage. And, I agree, but you see, I think that's another thing too, right? Like even him acknowledging that is enough, right? There is no verse where I could see where just like, just throw away the swords, right? I think that's my point. And if we're living in this modern society, right, we've heard the term, don't bring a knife to a gunfight, right? We've all heard these terms. So then my thing is like, if the gun is the modern day sword, don't people have the right to at least bear arms? Again, we're not talking about being I guess the oppressor here, right? We're not going to use our weapons to oppress people, but we're talking about just self-defense. Like don't the church owe their congregants that right just to defend themselves? I'm curious, what do you guys believe? What's your thoughts, James, as I find this next?
Well, if you're going to advocate for guns, this is always going to keep happening because you can't really control people's behaviors, right?
Right.
This is why free will is dangerous. Yeah, this is why free will is dangerous. Many people will say, if you live by the sword, you die by the sword. Snoop Dogg said, you live by the gun, you die by the gun, right? So this is exactly what's going to happen. And I get it. People want to keep their, what is this, Second Amendment rights? But then how much people gotta die in churches and schools before we say no more, no mas? Because this, like I said, all of this is this evidence being stacked against the Second Amendment. All of this is not pretty at all. Because innocent people, you're not even safe in church. You're not even safe in school.
Yeah.
That just gives ammunition for the Democratic Party. But hey, they want the Second Amendment, so let them have it.
Yeah. And since you brought the political aspect of it, and please y'all chime in. I'm gonna read some of the chats as well, because I'm seeing some interesting thought patterns here. But like, since you brought up politics, this is the kind of stuff I wonder, right? When like with all the things that took place with the Charlie Kirk and how we brought it up even when it first took place, right? There was a shooting at a school, and we're just like, how come it seems like the shooting that took place at the school seemed to be overlooked, but there was so much emphasis on Charlie Kirk. This is kind of what brings me this is what comes to my mind concerning this. Is just like, we have an incident where one person we know for a fact is unalive and 9 people are hurt, right? Are we gonna put emphasis on that? I highly doubt it, but again, like people are definitely. This is some scary times we living in, and
Nine injured. You gotta understand where they got shot at. Do they need surgery? Right? Do they need amputation? Will they be paralyzed? Think about it. Think about the medication that you need because you're in so much pain because possibly you can't walk again. Think about that. That's not a fun existence.
Yeah, no facts. You have Lala Boumeni say, I believe as believers we aren't supposed to be preserving our lives. Aren't we supposed to die for our faith? Why are we fighting so hard to stay alive on earth? To be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. He who saves his life will lose it. What does that mean? Okay, interesting. I think
that's good.
I'll read it and then maybe we could respond after because there's several comments. But Little Lake Lod says, all the early Christians were killed without shedding the blood of another man. Okay. Turn the other cheek. If your brother slaps you, turn your cheek so he can slap the other. It doesn't instruct us to fight our brother to defend ourselves, let alone kill him. Crazy Gardener is saying, so you prefer all the guns to be in the hands of people who we all agree on ain't good? Okay. I do believe in protecting your family and defenseless ones. I think it's situational. Yeah, House of Lamar said, keep people from obtaining rocks because Cain used a rock? Question. Here we go with the Christian pacifist approach. Okay, so and this I purposely asked the question because I knew it was going to be a point of divide. And let me just preface my statement. Matter of fact, hey, you go first. You go first because you had something in mind. Go ahead.
So, there was a lady who commented about the life thing, right?
Yeah.
So, those who try to save their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it says those who love it. So again, I think what's the whole point of being if what's the whole point of life and living on this earth? Is this just simply to die? Or is it to live and have an understanding, right? We weren't designed to die. We were designed to have life and more abundantly, right? The idea of those who are try to preserve their lives, to me, I've always understood that as people who are cowardice, the traitors out there, like a Judas, right? That to me, I've always understood it as people that are willing to sell their people out just to live. So that's what I've always understood it as, not so much as you have to reject life altogether, because you are alive. God is a living God. Whether you have life here or life in the afterlife or the beyond, I should say, you are alive. God is life itself. So I don't think we need to be thirsty to die or I want this life to be over. I don't think that's how we should interpret it.
Yeah. This is interesting because, House of Lamar, I'm going to read it one more time. Here we go with the Christian pacifist approach. And, Sister Lala says, why do we speak about Christians like this, though? Shake my head. And that's the thing, right? I want to have a very civil, I think we're all pretty respectful here. We're not attacking one another. But I think this is something that we need to really hash out, as believers in Messiah, right? Because the turn the other cheek is definitely, I believe, passage of scripture that's very clear, right? It's red letter. Jesus clearly said that. However, I do believe that there is context to when he said it, and I also believe that verse can also be weaponized to create pacifism. So what I mean by that is I believe, similar to you, bro, that Jesus, even when he was preaching that sermon, right, he was speaking to his disciples. These were fellow believers. These were believers all to another. And I think sometimes when you see like love your enemy, right? Is it enemy from the standpoint of, those who have you captive? I don't read it that way. I read it, me personally, I read it as your brother can be viewed as an enemy in that particular point in time, like Saul and David, right? David clearly loved Saul, even when Saul was pursuing after him. And David, no matter what, he said, nah, I'm not going to touch Yah's anointed. I'm not going to, kill this man, even though he had the opportunity to, and he cut a piece of his cloth. He's like, nah, man, he didn't say that, right? But that's the spirit of it. I'm going to turn the other cheek in this regard because that's still my brother, right? That is still Yah's anointed. So, but I don't think, for me personally, I don't think we should, Christian or no Christian, I don't think that's even that. I think just as a general believer, right? You could be Israelite. I don't care what you call yourself, but like, we need to be wise, I think, in how we approach our fellow man. Because I think, Lala, to your credit, you mentioned you believe in protecting your family and defenseless ones. I agree. Like, I don't think that as a man, I can sit here in the name of religion. And I think that's the biggest thing. Religion is teaching us a way that we should go about loving one another. But if a man breaks into my home, my church, right, my community, I don't care what you want to call it, and is here now trying to impose his will on my loved ones, do I not have the right to try to defend my family? Is that not part of the provision?
Self-defense is never a problem. This is why we have martial arts. The point is guns a benefit to humanity or is it a deficit? You see, the problem is if you're going to enforce a law, this is why the rule of law is so important. If you're going to say people have the right to bear arms, then everybody's supposed to have it. You can't be selective.
True.
The problem is this country is so racist. This country is so, every state has their own laws. Like, you can own it down south, it's okay. Up north, it may not be okay. And furthermore, why are certain gangs, certain groups of people, where are they getting the guns from? You see, this is the whole problem why people are upset and they're like, hold up, maybe guns is not a good idea. Maybe it's not, because it's doing much harm than good.
But
you see, the whole point of self-defense is equalizing it. If I fight you with my hands, I better fight you. You fight me with your hands. If you have a knife, it becomes unequal. So if I have a knife, then it's equal. So if you have a gun, it's unequal. If I have a gun, now it's equal.
So that's why we come to the point where it's a human right. Everybody has the right. Because here's the thing, right? I could, in a bubble, agree with you. Like, okay, you know what? Yeah. And I don't even necessarily agree. I'm just, for the sake of conversation, guns have done more harm. I don't necessarily agree because, again, I think a gun is neutral. That same gun can also be used for hunting. And people, I mean, we need food, right? Many people use guns for other things outside of this, unaliving their fellow neighbor. But in the context of where we're talking about, right? Let's say that the gun have done more harm, but because there are people that are using it unjustly, now we have no choice, but we have to equalize it, right? Because again, if you don't equalize it, they're gonna have an unfair advantage. And then at that point in time, hey, what are we gonna say? Out of religion, we shouldn't have guns. No, I don't think we should adopt that position. Again, I'm of the mindset that, and here's the thing, right? Let's be fair here. These people at this church, they were not just going around imposing their will on people. They said they were in the middle of service, right? They're not going out here trying to terrorize people. So again, the evil is meeting them, I think it would have just been smart, not just for them, but for any church. Yo, at least have some people that's armed. You get what I'm saying? Just so that you could defend your church. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
So let me ask you this. Right?
Because, and can I say one last thing too? Because again, they said he took the car and rammed it in the church. Are we gonna say, well, cars kill people too? Yeah, cars. You could use a car. It's you could use anything.
Yes, I get that. You could even bash somebody with a chair. I get that. But now, how do you vet mental stability?
Oh.
How do you vet that? Because there's some people that look normal, but they're very unstable. They could pass the test, and you think they're sane, but then you find out they have ulterior motives. How can you vet somebody that's evil?
Bro,
they're sociopaths. Go ahead. So what happened?
So just in case, right? You know, obviously I moved to Tennessee, right? In New York, you probably don't deal with that, but like you need to go through a background check before you even have a gun. So now at that point in time, I agree. Do people slip through the cracks? Yes, we have some sociopaths that might slip through the cracks, but by and large, again, we have a lot of people that, based off of your track record, we can see that, okay, this person, for the most part, he's not a criminal, right? He's not going around imposing his will on others. So yeah, that person is probably going to use it for simple training, maybe hunting, or just to defend his family.
A lot of these school shooters, they don't have track records. They have manifestos. They have ideologies that you never will know. You and I are brothers. If I never met you, if we were not brothers, I can't look at your ideologies that you have.
True. I'm not saying it's a perfect system. I'm just saying, you know, hey, it is what it is. But here's another thing too, right? What percentage of people, and I'm typing it as we speak, but what percentage of people that own guns engage in violent crime? I don't know. I'm just typing it. I'm just typing it as we speak to see what comes up. Violent crime, and I'm gonna present it to y'all just to see a couple of statistics. So this is what I'm writing this, and this is what literally pops up. Let me share my screen with y'all, so you guys can see what percentage of people that own guns and engage in violent crime. It says, according to this, it is impossible to provide an exact percentage of gun owners who engage in violent crime, and doing so would be misleading because of several statistical and factual issues. The vast majority of gun owners are law-abiding citizens who do not commit violent crimes. So now we don't have a direct thing. This is my point, right? When we have these psychopaths, right, they actually represent a very small minority. So for you to say that, let's ban something that has many good purposes as well, because again, living in the country, there's people who own guns and they will never. Do you know how drastically harder it is to hunt if you don't have a gun? I mean, yeah, you could probably wait for bow and arrow season, but I mean, do you understand that it is technology? People are using this stuff to benefit their lives.
I understand that, but now my question is,
hold on. In a culture where the gun is helping people to put food on their table, are you now gonna restrict that from them as well because guns are evil? It's not evil, and there's no statistical proof to prove that. So now we gotta understand. This is why. But go ahead.
So my thing is, so is the solution to have metal detectors, to have more officers in schools, more officers in church too? But now you have more officers in these locations and groceries. That's almost equivalent to martial law. You see that?
So now that, no, yes and no, because now if you're advocating for authorities, right, governmental authorities to be there providing such protection, then you could say yes, martial law. But this is why I'm saying, like, for example, Crazy Gardeners said it, private security, right? Like, these people You have that right. It's your right. So exercise your right, train up so that you can actually defend your own people. Crazy Gardeners also said this: the problem is gun-free zones create these environments where people with guns are empowered. Yes. Again, you know, I don't even know. I don't want to speak ignorantly, but I'm very curious. Like, is Michigan, what type of state is it? Is Michigan? I'm very curious. Is Michigan an open carry state? Oh, it is. So yes, Michigan is an open carry state where citizens can generally open carry a firearm without a special permit, provided they are at least 18 years old. So that throws a caveat in there. So this is one of those instances where so matter of fact, that actually proves my point though. If it was an open carry state, that means legally all the congregants in that church had the ability to own a gun in the first place. And again, I don't know. I don't want to necessarily make that conclusion. But if they weren't armed, then again, you're putting yourself at a disadvantage. And that actually proves what Crazy Gardeners is saying. It's you are a gun-free zone in a state where there's open carry. Why would you put yourself at a disadvantage like that?
Do you think a person that actually carries guns in these churches, they can prevent explosions from happening? Or what about the car busting inside?
That part is crazy. So that's what I'm saying. Like this dude to ram his car into the church, you can't do that. But what I'm saying that if there was security, they could have very well saw that and be like, hold on, this is a dude ramming his car into the church now, right? And he's not going to shoot 10 people. Come on, bro. Come on, man. Now, and this is why that I respect the person who asked the question. Were there more than one suspect? Because that part I don't understand. How in the world did the fire happen simultaneously alongside of
the car?
Yeah, him ramming his car into that. Like, there's many things.
It could have been planned. It could have been a distraction. He could have had help. We don't know.
Very true. I do want to show one thing, though. Maybe we could get some more insight on what's taking place.
Okay, as I strive for accuracy, I waited until enough information was out to make any kind of video on this. I'm, of course, talking about the shooting that happened in Grand Blanc, Michigan. Because you know that immediately everybody in the MAGA is going to scream that this was some kind of Antifa terrorist, right? When most of us who know the history know exactly what kind of person it was most likely to be. Because before we knew anything concrete about the shooter, they released a picture of his truck that he plowed into the wall of the Mormon church, which was a truck with 2 gigantic flags sticking out of it. And the only people who ostentatiously display a bunch of flags on their truck in their house are right-wingers. But again, I'm here to just display the facts. The suspect, who was taken down by police shortly after they arrived, was Thomas Jacob Sanford. They describe him as a family man with a wife and kids, and they made sure to mention that his voting information says no known political party affiliation. So remember that going forward as you see all of these MAGA making videos claiming that he's a card-carrying Democrat or something. As of the 5 o'clock press conference, which only lasted a couple minutes, the sheriff said they still don't know the motive of the attack. They searched the guy's house in Burton, which I guess is a town close to Grand Blanc, but they didn't release any other information on him or even if he was a member of that church that he attacked. And at the most recent update by the authorities, 10 people were shot, 2 of them died. Now, those are the facts we have at the moment. Everything that I just said is a verifiable fact. He was not a Democrat. He was not even listed as MAGA. He was listed as an unaffiliated voter. However, I'm going to add in my opinion right here. This right here that follows is opinion. I can't help the fact that a few weeks ago, when CK was unalived by Tyler Robinson, of course, they all claimed that Tyler Robinson was some kind of hardcore leftist when we found out that he was a conservative, from a conservative MAGA family. But one of the key things is that he was a Mormon. And I even stated before that the whole point of Tyler Robinson being a conservative means that the conservatives are actually fighting each other. And I have this inkling in the back of my head, which of course at this moment is opinion, it is not confirmed, is that it could be possible that this guy blamed the Mormons for Kirk's death, and so he took it out on them. I mean, I hope that's not the case because that would incite some kind of religious war, but they are going to offer another press conference tonight at 8 o'clock, and I'll bring further information on this tomorrow.
Very interesting. This is very interesting. What I do like about this though is that he's pointing out that all these attacks is the rights, is the right attacking themselves. And I think this is kind of our stance that we were taking regarding Charlie Kirk, right? Where it's just like, this is why we wanted to stay neutral, because there's like this overwhelming, this overwhelming desire to try to point the finger, like the rights are trying to point the fingers at the left and the left is trying to point the finger at the right. But I mean, like, if we kind of like sit back, we could kind of be like, well, in actuality, you guys are fighting each other, right? And that's why I think it's all about, like, it could be about propaganda as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Like, are these people paid off so that, but, go ahead. And I'm going to read some comments afterwards. So
I'm going to explain this in a way that people can understand. You see, this is going to escalate, right? Because it's just beyond guns, right? Remember, I gave you the analogy. If you and I are both fist fighting, it's even. If you have a knife, it's unequal. If I have a knife, now it's equal. What happens after guns? You have nuclear explosions, right? Nuclear wars, right? So that means, by that same logic, every country should have nuclear weapons.
Mm-hmm.
You see how that can escalate extremely fast?
For sure.
Just for self-defense?
Right.
So I get it. Technologically, we're advancing, but not every technological advancement needs to be utilized or championed for. Like, we need to have some of the wisdom to, like, okay, you know what? Let's slow down a bit, because let's really slow down a lot. And what's best for humanity, right?
So can I push back a bit?
Now, go ahead.
Can I push back a bit? Because, like, let's suppose if we go back, right? Like, we rewind a bit, technologically wise, right? So what's the furthest in terms of our advancement? Should we, like, do we stop at swords? Do we stop at, where do we stop?
So beautiful. Look, there's a reason. I'll tell people my favorite chapter in the Bible has always been Genesis 3, because it laid out the foundation for everything that we're experiencing now. Knowledge is both good and evil. The more knowledge we acquire, right? Because knowledge is a double-edged sword. That same Bible that could be used to save many people is the same Bible that could use to be enslave other people. That same gun that could be used to self-defense can be used to harm innocent people. That's how knowledge works. Every technological advancement that we make can be used in a positive way and used for a negative way, right? We have the internet that brings us together, but the internet can be used to go in the black market for CP, could be used for, the corn sites, all of those things. So when is humanity going to learn to be content? Because we're slowly destroying ourselves. That death that the Most High said we will experience, it doesn't come now, but it's eventually going to come. And it's a slow, agonizing, painful, suffering death. When are we going to learn contentment?
Okay. I'm gonna go to some of the comments. It said, Lala says, "That's crazy that you think I'm against self-defense because I love stray away and I'm against Dow. I'm not against him. I am against a lot of the foolishness he did. He was wrong about everything." So sis, who are you referring to as? Because I don't think you're against self-defense. But I was never of the same mindset as him when it came to self-defense. I believe in self-defense. I don't believe in killing a brother or sister because they're trying to kill me. Interesting. Reading scripture in context is being missed a lot of the time, but who am I? Just a woman whose opinion doesn't matter to most Hebrew men. Nah, I don't think.
No. We value opinions of women here.
Yeah, for sure. Little Lick Lodge, I am not completely sure how Yah wants us to deal with this kind of stuff, but I would say that believers should always strive to spare someone's life. If you shoot to injure, not kill. This is a whole big point too. Like within the training of a lot of law enforcement, a lot of times what we're witnessing is actually abuse of power, because that's not how they actually train. They are trained to actually subdue the enemy, not to kill the enemy, right? So this is, I think this brings another thing too, where it's just like, again, within obtaining a firearm, not only do you got to go through a background check. If I recall, it's been so long since I obtained one, but you actually got to go through a certain class as well. I forgot, maybe you guys could put it in if you guys could remind me, but there's a certain class that you have to take in order for you to be able to actually obtain a firearm. And they go over these things, right? Like they tell you when you can actually use your firearm and how you can't just shoot people any old way and all this stuff. Like there's all these laws regarding what you can do and not do. So again, I guess to answer your question, James, is like, how far do we go? I think the thing is that as believers, it says be harmless as a dove, but wise as a serpent, right? And I think, again, if you're going to be harmless as a dove, we are not consciously trying to oppress people. As believers, right, as these Mormons in that church were, we're not consciously trying to, hurt individuals, because the Bible already says live as much as possible, live peaceably with all men. But we're talking about a situation where now you have to be wise too, right? Like if these people have this, in this example, the gun, will I bring a knife to a gunfight? No, I think it will be foolish, right? Like I think these are the kind of things where it's just knowing the environment that you're in. You know what I mean?
So this is the thing. Every time we break,
can I say one thing before you go? You guys, if you guys are liking the video, please like, subscribe. It does help out. But also I put a link to my brother and I's personal YouTube channel. We're trying to grow that so that it could be a little bit more curated, right? Because on this channel, we talk about a bunch of different topics and we like to be a little bit niche down. So if you could support the actual Eugene Brothers 3 YouTube channel, that would mean a lot. But yeah, go ahead, bro.
So this is my thinking, right? Every time we break God's commandments, we have to come up with extra rules because we've gone outside the scope of the Bible. The Bible says, "Thou shalt not kill." Think about it. So there is no need for weapons per se, right? Especially to use against each other. Why you need a weapon when the law clearly states that? It's because knuckleheads, they don't want to adhere to the law and they want to go outside the scope of the law. This is what causes everybody else to be on high alert and want to defend themselves. That's what it is. If I never broke the law, for instance, let's say don't slap each other, right? If I never slap you, you would not want to retaliate and slap me back. True or false? It's the same thing. If I never had the gun to begin with, you wouldn't want to have the gun in order to defend yourself.
Can I push? So this is my thing, right? This is my thing because I know Lamar had mentioned it earlier in the chat. He said The Rock. Just for correction's sake, if you read the book of Joshua, Cain actually used a farming tool. You guys read it. He used the farming tool. Right?
Yes.
So I want you to put things into consideration, right? There is no "thou shalt not kill your brother with a farming tool." But what would possess an individual like Cain that you get so envious of your brother that you will take something seemingly harmless. And can we all agree that a farming tool of all things is very beneficial? I mean, what are we going to do? We start digging the dirt with our hands? You'll be
Yes.
there all day. You'll be there all day. So he took a farming tool, and with the metal part of the tool, again, you guys could fact check me, go to Jasher, right? But he used the metal part of the tool, and he hit his brother and killed him. So what then do we do? Ban the farming tool? And this is I guess this is the reason why I'm gently trying to push back, because again, I agree with you in a vacuum, right? But the reality is this, you're right. There are people who have, because of their wickedness, gone outside the scope of what the law has told us, and now we have to keep, the Most High had to keep coming up with these additional laws, right? In a perfect world, we all gonna love our neighbor as ourselves. But I think to go into society just assuming like, oh man, my brother loves me. No, you're setting yourself up for failure, because everybody, that's just the reality. Unfortunately, everybody's not your brother. Everybody's not your sister. Everybody does not love you.
Why? Why?
Yeah, sure.
Because-
But I mean, again, we could go into the why. But I think, again, is even before we get there, this church, there was an injustice imposed on them. And all I'm saying is that I believe for it to have gotten to the point where they are one person, and based on the TikTok, I think they said 2 at this point, so maybe it was updated, but potentially 2 people were unalived, and there's 8 that were injured. How did it get that far? This is the thing that's crazy. Little Lake Lodge said another account of Cain killing Abel said that he threw stones at him till he died. So can you please, provide that one? Because I never read that one per se. I only read the Josh account. And if that's the case, then one of them is conflicting, right? But then that would still prove the point. It proves the point either way. Like, do we ban rocks? Rocks were in existence before we even came on the scene, right? So we can't ban rocks. Like, people could use, and that's why I brought it up. I think even last time, I think it's London, where they actually have no guns at all, and everybody over there is being killed by knives. Like, that's statistically, that's what's taking place. Correct? Again, you might.
No, you're right.
So it's like, bro, you asked a beautiful question. How far do we go? I think this is hard, but I think this is clearly, like, surely we must advocate for the church. I would even go as far as to say the school, but then you brought up a good point. How do we know someone's mindset? It's very dicey. It's very dicey.
To me, it's simple. It's either everybody has guns or nobody has them. That's the only way to make things fair.
True.
I'm not. My speech may seem that I'm anti-guns, but it's not that I'm anti-guns. What I am is the unequalness that we're displaying, because every time this happens, right? Every time the school shooting happens, every time a church gets shot up like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
All it's going to do is bring back the arguments that we're having. What is the right course of action? Should we eliminate guns, or should everybody have guns? Should people in the church carry guns too? Right? So that's the discussion that everybody's gonna have to deal with.
Can I show my screen real quick? Just so that you guys understand, I try my best to always present factual information. All right, you guys. So I'm not trying to mislead y'all, and that's why I said, you guys, please fact check me. I'm gonna say this is verse 20. Verse 25, all right? And as you guys can see, this is the book of Jasher. If you guys can see that. The book of Jasher, this is chapter 1. If you guys go to, I said 25. 25. And Cain hastened and rose up and took the iron part of his plowing instrument, with which he suddenly smote his brother, and he slew him. And Cain split the blood of his brother Abel upon the earth, and the blood of Abel streamed upon the earth before the flock. So
No.
again, I'm only reading that just for clarity's sake, and I'm not trying to misrepresent something. Again, if there is another account with The Rock, please show it to me. But then one of them have to be off. Okay.
So here's how to defend against that, right?
Everybody will need a pure heart.
No, but here's what I'm trying to say. Cain was in the wrong because, one, that instrument wasn't fashioned to kill another person. That instrument was fashioned for gardening. It's the same thing with a butter knife. A butter knife is not made to hurt people. So it shows you what is right and what is wrong is based on the intention of the creation itself. What the creation was designed to do versus how people misuse the creation. You see, if the creator, and this is why the creator exists. If the creator exists, that means creation has a purpose, a function, and a design.
All right.
Humans are going against the function and the design. And that's what constitutes as evil in a sense. When you misuse, for instance, your body, when you misuse certain things, you have deviated from the intention and the design.
Can I actually?
Do you understand? I hope people understand. It's very easy and simple.
I would like to show y'all something too. Maybe you could see the nuance and why this topic is not very easily. Why there's so much confusion surrounding the topic. But it says, I wrote the original intent of the gun. Right.
Self-defense, right?
Well, we're about to see it. It says the original intent of the gun in a legal context refers to the intended purpose of the right to bear arms as enshrined in the Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which aimed to secure a well-regulated militia necessary for the security of a free state and to protect against threats to the liberty and property.
Self-defense.
No, I agree. But look at what it also mentioned. It said, while this included the historical context of citizen militias, frontier self-defense, and protection against tyrannical government. I think that's something I wanted to point out as well, because again, you got to understand the context where, like, if you have a government, I think back then Great Britain, if they the only ones that have arms, right? And now you have the citizens, how are they gonna even overcome something like that? It's gonna be extremely difficult. You get what I'm saying? So now again, you mentioned it, self-defense. Like everybody got to be on equal playing field. And I think this is I think what this is proven is that when it comes to laws concerning the rights to bear arms, it is reactionary. You get what I'm saying? It was the result of, okay, this is a circumstance that we're in. We see there's an injustice, and it sounds, we could say all day, let's just eliminate it. But again, I think there is a reality there, because what do we go back to the bow and arrow when it comes to hunting? Again, there's so much, like, do you understand how that even impacts the grocery stores that people go to? Like a lot of people, you see, and this is a very nuanced conversation, because it's like some people, y'all don't even understand how you obtain the meat that's on your table. There's farmers out there, y'all, that's putting in the work to slay these animals, wrap it up, and put it in these grocery stores. And what do you want them? You're gonna burden them by they can only go and hunt by the use of the arrow? Like, do you understand how that would severely impact a lot of other forms of market out there? Again, I know it sounds cool, like, no guns, but I think we got to understand, like, it exists. So now how do we react to the fact that it exists? You get what I'm saying? Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say is that based on our conversation right now, then you can honestly see, if you're a Bible believer, you can honestly see why the Most High had to withdraw himself from humanity. My spirit can no longer dwell with mankind. My spirit can't, because he gave us simple laws. We stray away from them. Now he has to add in more laws. We stray away from them. Now he has to do plan. It goes from plan A to plan B to plan C.
Yeah.
He gave us paradise. You feel me? So now you see why the Most High says, I can't be with these people, because their minds is continually wicked.
Yeah. It's interesting because I was thinking about it. I'll probably want to land the plane on this one verse here. Let me see if I could find it. You guys, please bear with me. I'm gonna go to Romans, I think 1:30. Romans 1. I hope I'm in the right spot. Yeah, there you go. And I'm gonna share my screen real quick. But you guys, check this out, y'all. So Romans 1:30, it said that, and just to put things in context, right? It said that, and even as they did not like to retain Yah in their knowledge, Yah gave them over to a reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient. And then there's a bunch of things that are not convenient. But in particular, verse 30, it says, backbiters, haters of Yah, they're spiteful, proud boasters. And this is where I get to, inventors of evil things. Inventors of evil things. And when you were speaking, bro, that's the thing that came up to my mind, because it's just like, unfortunately, there's a lot of things that man, just through their creative power, we create certain things, and the use case of it gets distorted, it gets warped, and it just brings about a lot of chaos. It's unfortunate, but the only thing that can really change it, again, in a perfect world, our hearts as humans, one towards another, is going to have to change. Because again, even getting back to the situation regarding what that TikToker was saying, we got to think about it. This guy was a right winger, right? So, and he attacked a Mormon church potentially because of, I forgot who the little boy, not little boy, but the man that attacked Charlie Kirk. Apparently, he might have been Mormon himself, and it's just like it gets very convoluted at this point, and it's just like it's real. This is the reality. What took place to that church is extremely devastating, and these things, unfortunately, they happen all the time. And I just think that us as a people, I think we need to be wise. I really do.
Another thing too, I want to say is that, you see, when God gave us laws, it was never okay. When God gave us laws, everything is unified. Everything is perfect and in order. The problem is, and I'm not going to even hold you. I know I'm straying a little bit, but these denominations have gone too far out. They've strayed too much. They've strayed too far from the laws itself. This is why we're having this moral dilemmas, and we're having these discussions, and life makes it gray because we've deviated too much. You understand what I'm saying? Like, the laws is very black and white. It's because when you don't listen for so long, after generations of not listening, then it seems like life is gray, because now it's become cultural inside of us. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, these horrible practices that we've adopted over time through generation and generation, now it's become ingrained in our culture to the point we think life is gray, or life has there's a little nuance in it, but there's no nuances with the truth.
Yeah.
So I hate to say this, but more of the Michigan shooting is going to happen. Things like this is going to continue to happen. School shootings is still going to continue to happen.
Yeah. I think in the midst of all of it, if we look at it from a larger picture, especially considering we're coming off the heels of what took place to Charlie Kirk, I think we got to ask ourselves that what is this going to do? Because clearly those on the left, they're going to look at it and see like, hey, you see, this is exactly what we're talking about, right? And if they speak in that manner, they're probably not even necessarily wrong. However, how will they be demonized as a result for speaking like that, right? Because they might be justified, right? They might look at the Michigan shooting and say that this is exactly what we were trying to tell Charlie Kirk. But then Charlie Kirk was such an advocate for the Second Amendment. Now, what happens if these people now are silenced for their belief, whatever the case may be? Like, could you imagine if they even silence you? Because you're, well, you know, somewhere it sounds like you're advocating for like, yo, we shouldn't have guns, and that's fine. But if they try to put you in these, boxes, like you might not. I know you, and I know that you never even called yourself I'm liberal, but they love putting people in these boxes. And the moment you start speaking even remotely that way, coming off the heels of the Charlie Kirk situation, now they're like, yo, let's just silence this dude. Let's cancel these guys. Let's shut this YouTube channel down. Let's kick Jimmy Kimmel off. Let's do all this stuff. And then these are the kind of things where it's just like, it's only going to cause, I believe, like this tension within America. But I think what's amazing, again, this is the thing that's interesting. We got to be wise enough to understand that, no, this was two right-leaning individuals or entities. They attacking themselves. So now, do we even have the right to look at people that's on the left a certain way? If they just pointing out, they're looking at it as the people from the outside looking in, like, yo, we're not even involved, but look at this is what we're talking about, and they still being criticized.
But do people care about the truth? Can the right look at themselves and say we're messing up, or are they going to keep scapegoating people?
They keep scapegoating, and I think another thing too. I think this is where it gets dangerous too, because we have chosen at least we're trying to choose a position that's neutral concerning Charlie Kirk in particular. But then even people who are neutral, it could be viewed as, oh, you one of them. And it's just like, bro, we've explained ourselves in several videos in times past, so it is whatever. But
my question to you, Nick, do you think Charlie Kirk was that domino, that first domino that needed to be triggered for everything to unravel? Like for instance, if Charlie Kirk is the domino that needed to be hit, so that way it starts a chain of events that lead to everything unraveling, or was the chain unraveling from before?
So I would say this: if it's unraveling, what is that? What's the end game? What?
Either martial law. Either everybody owns guns or nobody owns guns.
You think that's the end game?
Or maybe civil war. Maybe this is brewing, like you just mentioned it. There's tensions on both sides. There's animosity on both sides.
People in the chat, you know, I'm a admit when I don't know nothing or don't know this. I don't know the answer. I would love to hear from y'all. What do you guys think is the end game? Because I do agree with you. I do believe that there is some form of a domino effect. I do believe whether Charlie Kirk was the beginning or he was just one of the dominoes, right? I actually think that he's just one of them, because this conversation has been going on for years prior to Charlie Kirk. You know, the left and the right, which Lala mentioned, left wing, right wing, yet these wings are on the same bird. Exactly, right? And we've said that before in times past, like heads, tails, two sides of the same coin. That's been my phrase. So it's just like, I'm not deceived at all when it comes to all this politics stuff. And this is why I don't choose no side, right? But I think, like I said, I think it gets a bit scary when you're in a country that claims that they uphold freedom of speech. And if you get targeted for your quote unquote freedoms, right? I think that's when it starts to get crazy. And again, I think what's taking place is that we're seeing that, I want to choose my words carefully, but I think what we're witnessing is that there is definitely a concerted effort. There are people behind the scenes, the powers that be, if you want to call them that. They are orchestrated, and I think Lala put it down, that term, orchestrated. This hit on Charlie Kirk was orchestrated by the government. The person they're saying killed him isn't the person who killed him. Very interesting. That's very interesting. I encourage everyone to really look into what Charlie was saying and doing. Don't just listen to the clips. Watch the full debates. It'll make more sense. He is exposing stuff. I agreed, Lala. I think we were talking about that too, where towards the end of his, life, he started talking about like, releasing the Epstein files and things of that sort. There's a corporate mercenary force on the streets now in the name of immigration. People don't understand it's a system to capture humans. It will eventually turn on us because it is for profit system. Wow. People, believers, anybody that's tuning in, hey, I think it's really important that we need to really just educate ourselves. The things that's being presented on the screen, again, these are all smoke and mirrors. And I think it would behoove us to really just be a thinking people, because there's a lot of things, again, it's two wings on the same bird. It's two wings on the same bird. I don't think we should be too easily influenced in any one direction. Do you have any final words, bro, before we head out?
My final words is all I can do is say condolences to the people that got messed up at the church. You know what I'm saying? That's all I can say. I really don't have the answers. I don't know the future, how things are going to play out. But I think if America is truly going to heal, it has to move beyond right and left. And it has to be an equitable system built on justice. There's far too much corruption that's happening. And it needs an overall makeover. And that's it, man. I really don't know. It's my condolences to those people and the families that were affected.
I'll finish off with this last statement by Lala, because I think that bleeds into what we were saying before when I read the purpose of the gun. Lala puts, he was for guns and against gun ban because he believed we need to be armed to fight against the government when they come for us. He was big on educating people about the details on the Constitution and why all men deserve the right to bear arms, to fight against the government if and when they rise up against the people. And
there's no problems with that. That's no problems with that. It's just, the thing is, America has always been selective who has the right to own guns and who doesn't. They've always been selective. Of course, people like us, when we want that, it's a problem, right? When we want to protect ourselves, it's an issue. That's the problem. Yeah. You see? And this is why a lot of Black people on this issue are very liberal. Because you're not giving it to everybody. It's never been that way. The KKK had it. They never did nothing, right?
Well, I'll say this, right? And respectfully, James, as a Black man living in Tennessee, and every place has its form of racism. Every place has its form of injustice. But being able to carry, at least so far, I haven't seen that injustice. Like Black people are able to carry. I know several Black people that have the ability to carry, and I think the way it's presented in New York is not the reality of how it's actually operated in the South. Now, again, there are sundown laws, sundown towns. Excuse me, sundown town. Those things exist. That's what I'm saying. Racism definitely exists, but there is definitely conveniences offered to all men, despite race, that also does exist. So I guess it really depends on just the exposure. But I guess to land the plane, and I love every single one of you guys. Thank you for chiming in. Again, please subscribe to the Eugene Brothers dedicated channel. I'll probably put it one more time in the chat. But I do want to echo what you said, James. I just offer my condolences for all those people. And this is the kind of stuff where it's like whether you agree with them doctrinally, whether you agree with their lifestyle, very similar to Charlie Kirk. You may not have agreed with everything that he said, but can we acknowledge that it was an injustice? It was clearly an injustice. And I just pray that, you know, all people, if they've been unalived, you know, unjustly, we should actually remember that. We should actually remember that and don't just sweep it under the rug. Like all lives, if we want to, you know, carry that banner, all lives matter, then all lives actually matter. And it doesn't matter of their status or what title they held. No, all lives actually matter. Anyway, with that being said, I do gotta go back to work. Nick, James, over and out. Jesus is king, y'all.
Subscribe.